Balls of Steel.
You're now rocking with the best.
Stop! It's the motherfucking remix!
I rock the party that rocks the body. You rock the party that rocks the body.
We will rock you.
I wanna rock.
We will rock you.
I wanna rock.
We will rock you.
I'm the king of rock.
We will rock you.
I'm the king of rock.
Hello, hello. I told y'all y'all can stop me now.
Can't stop.
Clap your hands if you got a bankroll. Clap your hands, everybody. Come on, clap your hands, everybody. Come on.
Can't stop.
Well, hello everyone. How are we? Northern English Bastard. How are we today?
Doing fine. How are you, my good sir?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Going through a little bit of open bar withdrawals and multitasking fatigue. But that's okay. That's okay. We're gonna overcome. I'm streaming live from my new office area. I'm in the conference room of what used to be a Catholic high school turned motel.
Damn, you're in charge of it now. Oh my god.
Oh my
Hotel.
God. Dear God, what have we done? But
Get
anyway,
it. Christian it all.
oh, I was hoping get a little bit more guests in here so we could have a little bit more lively debate. But your opinion is probably one of the better opinions. You and Blue Collar are two of the only YouTubers I know that are fairly based. Well, Stepenzo too, I guess, to a certain degree. That are fairly based with their opinions. And as you know, I'm a little tired of the birthday clown epidemic that's been going on. But so a few of the things I wanted to discuss today, though, I am actually going to shit on things a little bit, and I don't like to do it. It doesn't give me any pleasure to do so. How well are you all caught up with all of these the shows that I'm talking about today? Daredevil and Reacher.
Yeah,
I know
I've watched the last one, and it's kind of showing that it's just a so-so show. Most of it.
you've watched them. You mean you've watched the latest one, not the last
The
one?
latest one, yeah, and we're almost at the last episode, and so far it has mostly been a so-so show with some decent episodes, but you could probably tell there's a lot of the rewriting that's probably has kind of made it a little bit more of a bit of a mess. But even though I do like some of the episodes in it, and it's not as worse, it's not exactly as bad as most people were expecting it to be. It is better than most Marvel Disney sludge anyway, for lack of a better term.
What if anything can you say like positive about Daredevil? By the way, did you know today marks the 10-year anniversary of Daredevil? Did you know that?
The original Netflix show.
Yeah.
I mean, that first series was real good, yeah, even though there would be times when the episodes drag out, and Series 2 was great in the first half, then it went right off the moment Punisher took a backseat, but I don't know about the third series, so I can't really say.
Oh, you didn't watch it?
Yeah, but as the series, the positives about Daredevil Born Again, it does look like it is kind of trying in places. It does look like they are giving some kind of structure. There is some pacing, like when with Daredevil and Fisk kind of growing slowly back into their alter egos a little bit, though, even though Kingpin is basically Fisk anyway. But and the actors are still trying here this time as well. They are phoning it in, and it does kind of give him a bit of dignity, despite the fact we did have some people are saying Fisk is a bit cooked, but at least we're still kind of seeing him come back in style a little bit.
Yeah. I just feel like, I don't want to birthday clown this whole situation. You know me, I'm not up for that birthday clown bullshit. But
it's not birthday clowning if something is amiss. In your opinion, if something is amiss there.
No, yeah, for sure. It's just one of those things that I don't want to just keep on sounding like an echo chamber, just like this thing sucks, this thing is woke, this thing is this, and yada, yada, yada. But I mean, I don't know if you watched the latest review that Blue Collar Loser and I did on his channel.
Yeah,
I
I
really,
watched it a bit. Yeah, he made
yeah,
some good points there. I mean, there is a lot of plot holes and a lot of lapses of logic, especially with Bullseye as well. This is a guy who can pretty much take people on with anything. You know, he can throw anything at anyone and hit his target, and he's done a lot of things that are just kind of making him look a bit incompetent,
yeah.
especially during the end.
Well, let's start with the good. Let's start with the good
Mm.
first. So, what overall, like where we're at right now? What is your what's the good stuff that you've liked up to the point that we are right now? Oh, by the way, hang on one second. Let me do this just to be obligatory, so no one's little pussy gets hurt, and I don't have to fucking listen. So, going forward, any of these shows that we're going to talk about today, Daredevil, Reacher, Yellow Jackets, and 1923. Those are the main things that we're going to talk about. If you've not watched any and all of these things up to the point where they are at right now, which is either the finale in the case of Reacher in 1923 or the penultimate episode, the episode before the finale with Yellow Jackets and Daredevil, then don't come crying to me in the comments, or cry. I mean, I don't care. It helps the algorithm, but I don't want to hear it. I really don't. So we are going to spoil these things up to the point where they're at right now. So those 4 shows, if you've not watched them, we're going to discuss them in detail. I'm going to be giving away specific plot points. If you're not up to date, I don't want to hear your bullshit. I'm not going to stop again. So, it is what it is. Sorry to be so harsh with that, but, I'm tired of people crying in the man. I'm seeing that all the time. Oh, thanks for the warning on the spoiler. That was your warning. That's it. That's where we're at. But anyway, go ahead, bud. Tell me what you do like. Give me some positives.
What about the episode itself? Well, I don't like once again.
No, give me that. Give me a full. I don't want to go do an
Oh,
episodic analysis because it kind of shits on this
oh no,
thing.
no, like I said. I mean, the actors are still really playing this 100%, and it does look like they are. I do like the little contrast between Matt Murdock and William Fisk slowly growing back into the old ways. Like I really did like that little contrast when it got to episode 6. That was really well done, and the actors are still really giving it 100%. And I don't think it's been disrespecting them too much the way Echo disrespected Willem Fisk, or the way
Well,
She-Hulk disrespected Daredevil by having
yeah.
him fucking do the walk of shame. I mean, it does look like it is actually trying in comparison to the other Marvel Disney crap that we've had for the last 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's Wilson Fisk, by the way, but that's neither here
Wilson,
nor there.
yeah. Sorry.
That's okay. But other than that, I don't know what I could probably say that's different from that. Now, to be fair, I've not watched the Echo or She-Hulk, so I have no
Go,
bearing. Yeah, I've not.
go. Save your sanity.
Yeah, I have no bearing on that. I can't speak to that, so I have no idea. But I will say this: up to this point where it is at right now, it feels like they're just giving us bits and pieces. Maybe the pieces that they're giving us are all there is to give us. I really don't know. It's hard for me to say because there's some people that would tell you, there's some sources that say that this was an entire show that had been done, and then Berthnall and Charlie Cox got in there, maybe with the help of Vincent D'Onofrio, and just said, "Listen, we're not going to support this. We're not going to go forward with this if this garbage is what y'all are going to put out, because that's not what we signed up for." And if that's the case, then I'd love that for them. However, the sad thing is now it looks like a Frankenstein monster of pieced together stuff that they tried to fix, and then the other stuff that it's almost like when you're watching it, you get such whiplash from the series of what it could be and what it should be to what it almost was for the worse. That's what it feels like when I'm watching it sometimes. Do you kind of get the same feeling, or do you disagree with that?
I do kind of, because there's a couple episodes that was actually decent, and a couple that sort of look like, you can really tell there's been reshoots and reshots. I mean, especially in the latest episode. I don't know if you noticed Heather's hair, but I'm pretty sure she was wearing a wig in some shots, especially during the end.
I didn't. To be fair, I did not clock the wig. You did better than me on that. But I will say I did make a mention in Blue Collar and Me's thing where I said, hey, I really feel like she's almost like hotter in this episode than she has been. You know what I mean? So I don't know, and I meant that, and I mean that with no, you know, uh, I'm not being sarcastic or ironic when I say that. I think she looked better. I feel like I feel like it's still a good plot that she's going to be a villain of some kind, or at least something. We're going to find out that she's been, up to no good. RTNZ has said in some of his comments that have been on, posts that I've made about the video, that in the comic book she's some sort of, not villain, but she's some sort of distractionary thing for Matt Murdock, which I wouldn't I wouldn't disagree with that. I'm not that, I've never heard of her character before. I thought it was made up just for the series, but I mean, that certainly makes sense and falls in line with the things that she's been doing.
It could be.
being-
Let's hope. Hopefully,
Yeah.
series 2 might be a little bit better, but we don't know. Plus, I think the people who are promoting this really do need to be fired, because they've kind of been advertising Matt Murdock on Daredevil as like, yeah, this is next week's episode. Then the next week, then the episode comes along. It's nothing like that, and they're using those same clips in the next episode of Daredevil, and it's still not happening. So it'll obviously be next time because it's the final. They've got to do it.
Yeah. Which leads me into a lot of what I've been saying, which is these penultimate. So penultimate is just a fancy way of saying the episode before the season or series finale, right? So its basic function is to set up what you're going to see before the hiatus. Now there's two big problems with that. So the big issue being that if you have a weak sauce penultimate episode, it makes the finale do way too much work, which is what I've been seeing. These 4 shows that I'm specifically wanting to talk about today have had weak sauce penultimate episodes. Now, 2 of which, Reacher and 1923, ultimately their finales did come out, and ultimately their finales worked. But I'll get more into that here in a minute. But what it really leaned into having to make the finale do all the work. I felt like the penultimate one for Reacher was so weak. I was scared that they were really going to shit the bed. So,
because
yeah, go ahead.
Because when you go back to like Buffy, they always had great penultimate episodes, didn't they? Before the final, season 2 especially. I mean, that led straight into her needing to save Giles from Angel, and found out that the Slayer that was supposed to be replacing her is killed as well by Drusilla. There was a lot going on in there as well that really hyped you up and got you excited for the next episode. It didn't drag or anything. It didn't pad anything out. It gave context to the characters, especially Angel.
Yeah. Yeah, and that, honestly, not to gas up Buffy too much, but I mean, we're both fans of that. I would definitely say that that's the gold standard, but also keep in mind this, and this is something that I brought up, I believe I brought up to a couple different people, but think of this, back in the 90s and early 2000s, when you had a show like that, one, you got 22 episodes, give or take, right? That was pretty much the standard. And then 2, if you had a season finale, not a series finale, but a season finale, meaning like season 2 leading up to 3 to 4, yada, yada, yada. If you had those finales and they happened in May, well, it sucked. You're left on a cliffhanger maybe, or maybe it was wrapped up. It really just depends on the season or what they, I could give examples either way. But what you did know is that you'd watch something in May and you knew in September or October, you'd get another season. But now we get maybe half, maybe a third of that. 8 episodes is usually the standard now, give or take 1 or 2. And then we're waiting years. I'll remind you that, so I've been doing this rewatch with Nadia on her, and we're rewatching Stranger Things 2 episodes at a time. And keep in mind, the season finale of season 4 occurred in 2022, I believe. We're now rocking 2025 and still months away from the final season premiere. I mean, these, Euphoria's last episode was in 2020. I mean, we're doing years and years apart here. I don't know when the last episode of Punisher or Daredevil was, but I know it was quite a while ago. I think it was pre-pandemic, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah, I think it was.
So this is like it's giving us too much wait time and not giving us enough return on our investment, which leads into, the idea that I've had before, which is to say, that concept of the sunk cost fallacy, which I've referenced before, and I've actually done an entire, stream on, or an entire video on. So the sunk cost fallacy is the phenomenon whereby a person is reluctant to abandon a strategy or course of action because they've invested heavily in it, even when it is clear that abandonment would be more beneficial. And that's just a fancy way of saying that if you're into a TV show, miniseries, book series, maybe even, or even game series, it becomes, you've put so much time in, you're like, well, I might as well see it through. And it's really cost a lot. Like me, like for instance, I'll give you an example. From day one, I've been into the TV series From. I even did a From rewatch with Nadia on her channel. I'm out, bro. I tapped out. Like I'm not willing, because it's a mystery box show and they give you so little. Lost was the same. I think we've all got a show that we just The Walking Dead was also another one. And I'm not willing to even invest in that. I'm starting to think Stupenzo has the right idea of just waiting until a show is complete before even investing any time in it. And yes, Mystery, I agree. Buffy did manage to do it twice in season 2. I'm glad. I love seeing veterans that are into Buffy. I like that. That justifies, me liking it as well. I'm glad Buffy gets the recognition that it does.
Because Whedon knew what the fuck he was doing. He did.
With his writing, if not with his business managerial stuff. So, but that's a story for another day.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because if he was a better fucking manager, he would not be doing shit for channels that get his fucking stuff cancelled.
Yeah. So you're up to date on Daredevil. You're up to date on obviously on Reacher. What about Yellow Jackets or 1923? I've never heard you
I
speak.
have not seen Yellow Jackets, and I don't know. And it's sounding like you're starting to lose interest in that as well, or are you going back into it now?
Yeah, it's another sunk cost fallacy deal. Whereas I'm trying so hard to be beneficial towards it that it's not paying off my loyalty. It's another mystery box type show, and it's not giving me. It's another one. It's had its penultimate episode. This week is the season finale, possibly the series finale if it doesn't get renewed, which makes it even worse. So and that's another thing you're dealing with. You're dealing with, like, look at the rise of Netflix shows that we put time and interest into, and then they pull the rug out, and they're never to be seen again. So then you're left on a cliffhanger, and just like, what the, a famous one for that was Twin Peaks. People had to wait 30 years to get, some sort of closure on that. That's ridiculous, bro. Like, that makes no sense at all. So yeah, it's beginning to be where I just don't trust TV shows to pay it off anymore. And even if they do, the amount of time that you have to wait from one show to another is just astounding. Like, I can't I don't
especially when you've got so many shows coming out now.
Right. And so many shows on so many different streaming services. Now, obviously, I'm blessed because, I have that deal where I got, I pay a guy to upload content onto a server, and then and it's not illegal. It's legally uploaded, but I'm just, I paid it to have that service done. So I get to kind of jump from genre to genre, show to show, channel to channel. And I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to invest my time into that, but I need my investment rewarded in some manner, not sink all of this time and effort into a show or something and then have it just it's just ridiculous. Like, over and over again, I keep investing all this time and energy into a program just to have them either dry fuck me and say, well, gotta wait a few more years or 2 more years in order to get some sort of closure on this, or even not even closure, but just the next thing. And then, or it's a situation where it never gets resolved. and you're just like, what did I do all of that for? Like, what was even the point? It's just,
No, God!
Yeah, I have a feeling that they always have
No,
ideas.
God, please, no! 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 No!
sorry.
Yeah, because I think it's because they always have some ideas for a show, but they don't really know how to make it seem cohesive. At least for a few seasons, they have an idea that's probably good for one season, but then it becomes a big hit. It gets milked, and they have to fucking run around like fucking headless chickens trying to look for a way to justify the extra seasons.
I kind of feel like it's
worse.
down to the writing, that they write themselves into a corner, or they don't have a good outline or a plan. So like in writing, I think I've explained to you before the difference between a plotter and a pantser. A pantser just flies by the seat of their pants, so to speak, and just writes it as they go. And a plotter, they have notes, they have an overall narrative that they want to do, they have an outline, they have specific stuff, and there's some wiggle room that you can do within the creative process. But at the end of the day, you kind of have a start and a finish. Ultimately where your thing is going to go. And I feel that it's just, I feel like they're not doing that anymore. I feel like they're just kind of, doing it by committee. Too many people are getting involved and saying, well, okay, cool, you did this, but what about this? And, there's all kinds of stuff. There's DEI bullshit going on. There's, writer strikes that happen, things like that. And then, all of a sudden they go off the rails and stuff that, and we've seen this. This has always been a thing. You look at like Buffy season 4, for example, they had the main bad guy. She quit, wanted to go do something else. And then that left them into a lurch, in a situation where they had to change narratives on who exactly was the bad guy, and then what they were going to do with the end. That's why you have that disjointed ending where you have, her fighting off Adam the robot at the end, but then also they turn around and have the dream sequence finale, on top of that, which is fine because it was good. I'm not going to say that it wasn't by any means.
Season 4 was kind of one of the weaker seasons. Probably a little bit better than season 1, obviously, but I really do understand what you mean, because the final being a dream sequence after they've already taken on the big bad, it was like, wait, what? That is very jarring as well, because you want the big bad to be the actual final episode.
Yeah, having the final episode of a season be a kind of bottle episode is really weird. And it kind of stunk of they kind of didn't know what it was that they were doing. So in that way, I was just like, I don't know, man. No bueno. Not a good situation. But at the end of the day, these penultimate episodes, what I'm talking about specifically with these 4 shows and shows in general right now, is that you can't put the entire burden on your finale. So I know you haven't watched it, but just for a moment or two, I'll discuss one that just happened where I feel like they really knocked it out of the park. They did a great job. They had a 2-hour season finale. They did very, very well with, what it is that they did. And I have no real issue with it. A lot of people are upset about it, and I'll explain why, or I'll at least explain their reasons. But 1923, which is a Yellowstone prequel, but it's also a season 2 of the prequel, if that makes sense to you. And what they've done is, this is the Yellowstone Ranch, so Kevin Costner's great grandfather, so to speak, or grandfather, I think. Is it grandfather? Yeah, I think it's grandfather. So Kevin Costner's grandfather, and what's going on with the ranch. It's got Harrison Ford, it's got Helen Mirren, Brandon, unpronounceable last name, who's the flavor of the month now. A couple other characters, and they're basically the grandfathers or grandmothers of the characters that we came to know and love in the Yellowstone universe. Season 1 was very good. Season 2 was basically frustrating because you had the main character Spencer trying his hardest to get back to the ranch from overseas, because after he got done fighting in the war, he had such bad PTSD. He decided to be a hunter, working for the British Crown, and deciding to do that. He's off to the left with his wife Alexandria that he meets while he's overseas. He gets word from the far right, from the Harrison Ford character Jacob Dutton and his wife Cara, that the ranch is under attack and they need to have him come back and fight for the ranch, because he's the most skilled and best fighter in the family. Because they're being hit on the legal end, but they're also got mercenaries that are getting paid to basically like burn the ranch down, and they want to turn it into a resort in Montana, which ultimately we know is sort of what happens in the future. But at this present time, they just want to be ranchers. They just want to live their life. Where they went wrong is they kept meandering the story. They kept having the whole season is him trying to get back to Montana and his wife Alex trying to get to him at the same time. And she suffers like all of these indignities going through Ellis Island, being an immigrant, but doing it the right way, not being like a border jumper. But she does all of these things to try to get home. She gets SA'd, she gets robbed, she gets abused, she gets, loses her fingers and toes in an ice storm, all of this to get back to him. He goes through a bunch of shit as well. And the payoff is basically her dying in childbirth and him living, he makes it back to the mansion and pulls a John Wick. Now, the 2-hour season finale is great, but everything leading up to that is so fucking frustrating that it almost made, people like rage quit the show. So that's, basically what I'm talking about when I say, you have to just give the audience what they want, man. You can't do a situation where you have one narrative going on. Now, I will say, the acting is great. The story is good. And the season finale was amazing. Dude comes in like John Wick and just murks everybody. And Helen Mirren is amazing. And she completely she just destroys everybody that's in her way. She's upstairs in the loft, just like snipering people, taking headshots and seeing the pink mist like she's been a special forces sniper all her life. And we actually get a really great performance out of Harrison Ford, who usually pretty much just kind of like phones it in. So, I was pretty impressed by it. It's definitely something that you want to get into if you have the chance. Start with 1883, the first prequel, and then move your way up in the narrative, and then you'll be kind of caught up. But it's just one of those things that, again, you might want to wait until they're done, because apparently they're doing, they're moving to 1944, where Matthew McConaughey will play Spencer, the main character, moving forward after that. I'm not unhappy with it, but I can see why people are so frustrated with, with the situation, like as far as that goes. So, but as it relates to that, let's, discuss just for a second, since you're more knowledgeable on it, like Reacher, what do you think, where they started to lose the plot with the penultimate episode? How do you think it stacks up against? I know you've done your own review on that, and I'll link your review in the description of this after this live is done. But for the audience, what is your ideas on kind of where they went wrong with season 3, and how does it stack up against the other seasons and the movie so far?
Yeah. Well, season 3, there is a lot of lapse in logic. I mean, I know the character Duffy is a bit of a bad agent in the books, but since they're veering off the books a little bit, they probably could have found a way to make her a bit more competent, and plus she's got a good redemption arc going on. She messed up, she got her informant kidnapped, and she's trying to make up. But they just, by that point, it was just getting to a point where she is like, how the fuck was she even hired as an agent?
Yeah,
she's doing all this stupid shit, and the penultimate episode is just a drag. It just drags on. Yeah, there's still some good little moments with Reacher and Duffy, but it's just it doesn't really do anything interesting until the last 10 seconds, when it's like, oh mate, it's a trap, shit. And that's it. That's the only interesting bit that's happening. I mean, Zach with his son, okay, that kind of redeems him a little bit. It's kind of very touching, but apart from that, there's nothing really happening that much. There's nothing that doesn't really further the plot along that much either. It's just padding.
Yeah. What's your thoughts for the next? What can they do to like improve it for the next season that'll make you happy?
One, just keep a nice good pace going. Try not to. I can't really say as well because the books can sort of be a little bit more padded, but that's the point of the books. You can be a little bit more detailed and be a little bit slow and more build up. Mostly just have smarter, competent characters who have their flaws, but at the same time, you still get some good actors to still make them likable despite their low points. And obviously, Richardson's always going to be good. He's always going to be good no matter what, even when he's given bad material. But
yeah,
it's one thing. Just try and get some smarter people who can probably find a good way to write something a bit more cohesive. Keep a pace going, but at the same time, keep a structure going. Find a way that you can keep the plot moving that doesn't feel too rushed, but at the same time, it doesn't feel too padded out either. It's just finding that balance that the first series had.
Real quick, Mr. E, Proctophile, who else we got? Golden Banner of King Midas. I'm not familiar with that one. Is this the Penis Party? Yes, it is the Penis Party for sure. But yeah, I have sent out the link. Proctophile says he's working in the rain. Got it. Thank you so much for listening and dealing with us. Please don't get hit by lightning. I need all the viewership that I can get. Mr. E, my Marine Corps brother from another mother that loves to chew on crayons. Brother, I did send you the link. If you would like to pop in, you are always invited. Anyone that I've sent the link to, if you happen to be listening right now, you are more than welcome to come on and join us. Very, very happy to have you. I'm always grateful for any time I do a live stream. I've not had the most luck with them in the past, but I just thought with the absence of Open Bar today, maybe we could do a little something and talk about some stuff that, unfortunately I do have to shit on a little bit, but maybe we could also talk about some stuff that actually looks kind of sort of halfway decent. Maybe, like it might be something that, we could do that I would sort of be happy with. For the most part, the TV has been letting me down, where, as most people who know and watch my channel, I'm more of a TV guy than a movie guy, more of a book guy than a movie guy, maybe more of a movie guy than a game guy. But, as far as that goes, TV is usually my medium. Last year, I definitely found, when we did our top 4 of 2024, the midway and then the finale, and top 3 of 2023, I was more of a situation of liking TV. When we get to the midway point, sometime in June, and then at the end in December, January 2026, I feel like it's very possible I might have switched up and it'll be back on movies again. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with your assessment of Reacher. I think they made a really bad mistake with what they picked for the source material for season 3. I'm hoping that season 4 they make better choices, either go in another route where it's Jack Reacher all by himself on his own mission, or a situation where maybe they go in the past and do one of the earlier stories, and we get to see more of Reacher in the army. Those are always my favorite ones for obvious reasons. I like to see, because I think it's a lot more believable for Reacher to be an MP, be an investigator, and be assigned cases that he has to work on. Him wandering around the United States doing his hobo thing and then just randomly falling into adventures, I kind of find that pretty unbelievable. I don't really believe that would take place. It seems like, like how many different, we went over in another stream, Luke and I, or excuse me, Northern English Bastard and I went through the different stuff that, he's gotten into, the different books, different stories that he's done. And a lot of them were just the basic boilerplate of, Reacher gets on a bus or hitchhikes into a different place, gets in an adventure, gets caught up in a conspiracy against, somebody that he sees as a bully, but then there's a bigger bully, and rinse and repeat. It's the same thing, all over again. And after a while, you have to just go, how many times could he possibly just be walking into a situation and get involved in, you know, a random conspiracy.
You serious?
So yeah, there is that. So we talked about Daredevil, we talked about Reacher. You know, I'm not gonna shit the bed too much on this. So I gave you a little bit of an overview of 1923. You haven't watched any of those. I certainly would not recommend you starting at 1923. If you're gonna start that at all, either go
1883 then. Okay.
yeah, either 1883 or go to Yellowstone and then work your way back, you know, whichever, but definitely don't start at 1923. That'll be way too jarring for, I would not put that on anybody. Other than that though, you know, as far as that goes, I guess I will briefly discuss Yellow Jackets. Man, I have been so gracious to this show. I've been, you know, because one, it's a feminist lesbian drama. Basically, they make as many of the female characters boss babes and lesbians as they possibly can. But it's down to the fact of, I guess for the uninitiated, I'll just say it's a Donner Party Alive type story. A bunch of girls from New Jersey get into a plane crash on their way to nationals, you know, and it's the class of 1996, which I have a soft spot for because I am the class of 1996 as well. Also, the fact that all of these actresses play the younger versions of actresses that I grew up with, like Melanie Linsky, Christina Ricci, like that. Like a lot of them are just, so I knew them when they were their age. And the casting director's done a fabulous job of making the teenage version actresses in the 1996 timeline look like the ones in the adult timeline, as they like to call it. Now they don't say that anymore. Now they say teen timeline because it's two you know, corresponding stories. We get to watch the teen timeline and we get to watch the, like, quote unquote adult timeline, if that makes sense to you. As it starts out, you know, we get an idea that, you know, possibly there's some supernatural elements as they're in the woods, telling them to do certain things and act a certain way, manipulating them. Some people argue that it's not anything supernatural in any way, that it's you know, the chicks are just fucked up. They're just psychologically, and then, you know, the stuff that happens in the present day timeline kind of reinforces that. Me personally, I think that both are happening at the same time, and that the showrunners are trying to make you forget that there's a supernatural element in order to circle back. Because this season, one thing I will say about this season, it has a lot of flaws, certainly, but they definitely have a situation where the stuff that's happening has got to be supernatural. Like, it's just, there's no way it can't be. So a lot of the people that thought, well, you know, hey, you know, the girls are just they're just messed up, they're just doing stuff, you know, it's totally shown. I think they're pulling a rope-a-dope, and I think that they're going to ultimately reveal that although the girls do have this trauma and they are doing sick stuff, I think that, you know, it's a situation in which we're going to find out that they're both things, you know, are happening at the same time. Because, you know, the present day people are still hunting people, they're still killing people. You know, you've got the main actress Melanie Linsky, and Sophie Nélisse plays her younger version, and in both timelines she's a psycho that loves chopping people up. Everybody she basically runs into, even though she's supposed to be this regular housewife, she turns into kind of serial mom. I don't know if you ever seen that movie. And she's just stabbing people. And in the past timeline, you know, she likes to stab people.
Yes. And I stabbed him 37 times in the chest. Carl, that kills people. Oh.
Never fails to get me. Never fails to get a laugh.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
I can't stress enough how much in the first two seasons I defended Melanie Linsky's character's name is Shauna, and yeah, Sophie Nélisse playing her, how much I defended them. I can no longer with any good conscience defend them. They are in their penultimate episode. The new episode plays this week, and bro, unfortunately, they do not look like they are giving up any more information. I think they're going to leave it on a massive cliffhanger. And to keep in mind, the season premiered in 2021. We are now in 2025, and season 3 is about to finish. That ain't good, man. That's not, and there's so many unanswered questions. This is the one that I have to admit that I got Stupenzo and Blue Collar into. Listen, Mr. E, just join us, bro. I'm happy to have you add something to the chat, but if you can, just go ahead and join us. I'm happy to have your input in anything you want. I believe I sent you the link. Let me know if you can join. It'd be dope. Even if it's on your phone or whatever. But I Enzo gives me a bunch of shit about the Yellow Jackets, and to a certain degree, so does Blue Collar when he feels like taking the piss out of me. And at this point, I can't really defend the show anymore. I'm almost going sunk cost fallacy with it, because I can't say with any kind of degree that it's something that I can go, oh, okay, yeah, this looks dope, awesome. I can't, because I don't believe in it anymore. I don't believe that it's a situation that I can say, oh yeah, it's okay, they're getting somewhere. They do seem to have an overall arching plan. Yeah, I sent you the link in Twitter X, bro. They do seem to have an overarching plan, but at the same time, they're taking so long to get there that I'm just like, I mean, I can still in good conscience recommend the show. But I mean, man, if they don't get renewed for another season and they leave it on this massive cliffhanger, or if they don't completely show whether or not the things that we're watching is trauma-based or supernatural, then, dude, I don't know what I can do anymore with that. It's not something that I can, overall recommend. And it's making me sad. It's, every time I watch it, it's one of those things that, I just want to look in the mirror and play with my hair and cry. I got to send it again. Oh, come on, Mr. E. Oh, geez, Louise. All right. Anyway, let's get off of this bullshit. If Mr. E comes in, I'll talk a little bit more about it, but let's get off of this bullshit for a minute. What are we looking forward to in April, May, June of 2025? Anything? Can you recommend anything that we can look forward to?
Not that I've seen. I mean, maybe The Accountant 2 coming out. Maybe I think
Okay.
Warfare's already out now, so I do want to check this out.
Where's Warfare out? Because I've been looking for it and I can't find it.
I don't know. Apparently Blue said he's seen it, but I've not seen anything in England just yet. So.
You have to keep in mind he's in New York, so he has, he's able to. I've looked all over for it. It ain't playing here. Maybe Friday. I'll check again for tomorrow, but I don't know if I don't know if it's going to be available. If it is, I'm definitely going to go see it. It's definitely something that I am 100% looking forward to. For the uninitiated, Warfare is basically a I think it's A24, and they are doing a whole Iraq War 2005 or 2006 type thing. And I think the big premise of it is it's supposed to happen real time. I've not seen it. I don't know what the deal is with it. I'm not familiar with a lot of the actors that are in it. It's not something that I'm, and I don't, if there's a real story behind it, which I guess we're supposed to assume that there is. It's definitely something that, I'm not familiar with the story. There's Mr. E. What's up, Mr. E? How goes it? Mr.
Good. How y'all doing?
Good.
Yeah, April 18th, Warfare comes out in the UK anyway, so, and it's supposed to be out on the 11th, so in the US.
What are your thoughts on upcoming Warfare, Mr. E? You think it looks? That's supposed to be Marines, isn't it?
Yeah, it's supposed to be Marines. I'll to be honest with you. Anytime anything's based on any kind of reality, I'm going to be the biggest critic. You could ask anybody who ever sits with me through anything. I'm like screaming at people, "Get out of the doorway! Check the mirrors! Check the corners!" And yeah, I usually get asked to leave the room at some point.
I get that a lot from my girlfriend, but then again, she does the same thing too, because like she works in a prison. So if something pops off and it seems unrealistic to her, they wouldn't do that. That's bullshit, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, she's just as quick to do it as I am, maybe even quicker and other stuff. She doesn't like me to say that, but it's definitely true. Real quick, can I go back? So how far up to date are you with Yellow Jackets?
Yellow Jackets, I'm midway. Well, I take that back. I'm about a third of the way through the third season. You can spoil away. I'm losing momentum. I lost momentum with From, like you were talking about earlier, same
Yeah, same.
thing. And
Yeah,
then,
sunk cost fallacy for sure.
but it what kind of drew me in was that last episode of this previous season on From. So I'm kind of hopeful that it'll start just end in season 4 and it'll just unravel everything. Yellow
Yeah.
Jackets, I see no end in sight. I don't. I'm just losing steam, and I'm like, I don't give a damn right now.
Well, supposedly they've got it. They've got an overall plan. Supposedly, I don't know whether or not that's true or not. I can't say with any kind of, authority. I have no idea. I do know that it's one of those things where they better get to somewhere quick because I'm fucking getting annoyed.
Yeah, I have a feeling they have had a plan, but then they probably thought, you know what, let's just pad it out a little bit more because it's getting viewers. Apparently, it's getting some traction. So who knows?
Yeah, TikTok's definitely pumping it up. So there's that. So this is another one that I'm excited for. I don't know what you guys' thoughts are. This is Sinners, which is basically Devil in a Blue Dress meets From Dusk Till Dawn. This is coming out in a week or two. And it's another one of those Michael B. Jordan and I forget the name of the guy that Ryan Coogler that directed him in the Creed movies and the Fruitvale Station films, and I think he did Black Panther the original as well. That might not be right though. I might be wrong about the Black Panther.
Yeah, he did Black Panther. I think he did the second one as well.
Okay. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Any kind of looking forward to?
I hope it's good.
I actually haven't seen much of it. I've kind of been bogged down with work. You said Sinners?
Yeah. It's one of those things where they've given away way too much of the plot in the preview.
That seems to be the case with a lot of trailers these days. Though. I mean, every time I'm watching someone on YouTube, an ad pops up, the accountant too, and I have a feeling I probably already watched the whole fucking movie already.
I did right before we aired today. I did see a thing for Accountant 2, which was a completely different trailer than I've seen of it so far, which really played up the whole brotherly, Batman and Robin, Murtaugh Riggs thing between.
Is that film going to be more comedic than the last one? Because it looks like it's going that way.
If you're talking about the same trailer that I'm talking about, then yeah maybe. It certainly appeared that way to me. It's the first time I saw the trailer. I just saw it like an hour ago. And I was like, what is this? This is making it almost look like it's an action comedy almost. They're getting into bar fights. They're getting drunk. Berthnall's being Berthnall. So, I mean, I'm cool with that. I don't have any kind of an issue with that. But at the same time, I'm just like, dude, what are we doing here? Because this is a vast, difference between what I saw in the first movie and like what I'm seeing now. So
yeah, I mean, because his autism was kind of played a bit more serious, even though it's kind of like a little bit hyper realistic. But in the trailer, it kind of feels like Ben Affleck is playing him a bit like Sheldon, except Sheldon can kick ass.
Right? Yeah, that's a fucking great analogy, actually. Go ahead.
I just wish they wouldn't put it on autism. I don't know. I just knowing.
Yeah, this autism as a superpower thing is really.
Yeah, it's not always the case. I mean, fucking hell, I've got some mild autism. I am not Superman. Sometimes I have fucking problems processing information or even trying to articulate my thoughts a little bit. It's not always good.
You'd be surprised how many parents with autistic children are saying the same thing. They're just frustrated with people assuming their child's going to be a human computer. I mean, there's a ton of things. You could have ADHD or something like that. I feel it's lazy writing. They're just like grouping it into, we'll just say autism. And there you go. Don't get me wrong. I like the movie. I just pretend he doesn't have autism.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen the trailer.
I'm retarded.
Yeah, sometimes it's just problems with vaccines and stuff, and sometimes it's just alcohol, and that's when you wind up with somebody that is retarded. Speaking of which, somebody that's retarded, I guess Blue Collar Loser saying that warfare is Navy SEALs. So, that's
Really?
interesting.
Well, makes sense. Them getting stuck in have to ask everybody else to bail them out. Anyway, I didn't say that out loud, did I?
Well, anyway, let's pull that out of there. Another thing that may or may not be good. Let me see if I can yank it up really quick. One that I know is good, is this right here. You guys recognize what this? I went ahead and used some of the AI stuff that Northern and Stupenzo been, sucking off. It's one of those AI photos of it. You guys recognize what this is from this photo?
It's not Star Trek Discovery, is it?
No.
Somewhat.
Any other guesses?
It's not SpaceX.
Nope. Give you one more try.
I'll give it up.
No, nothing.
No,
it's the USS Callister. Black Mirror has come back, and one of the best episodes, the USS Callister, with our friend Christine Malati from the Penguin, has come in, and we get a sequel to that episode, which I didn't actually think they were going to be able to do. With the way that they ended it. Are you guys familiar with Black Mirror and with that episode?
Yeah, I remember that episode. But it's kind of weird that they're going back to some old storylines here. Usually it's just kind of a one and done episode each time.
Yeah.
So what season was that USS Callister?
I think it was last season. It was either season 5 or season 6.
Okay. I'm in 5. I haven't got all the way.
Yeah, but it was way backlog, this episode.
Yeah, you're not familiar with it, Mr. E?
No, I mean, yeah, I haven't finished season. I think I'm in season 5 of Black Mirror.
Oh, okay. So yeah, for the uninitiated, the basic premise of it was that this guy that's a tech genius, played by my doppelganger Meth Damon from Breaking Bad, is he's developed a interactive game sometime in the near future where you're completely immersed in it, and it's called Infinity, and within it he's got a subroutine where people that he knows in real life, he's cloned them and made AI people of them to play in his little game, the USS Callister based. It's kind of like a Star Trek ripoff type thing where he gets to be the captain and have these corny fucking adventures. And what are these slides? I'm using AI. So I was told to use the AI. Sorry. African American Mirror, you race. Nice. I like you. You are funny. You're a funny guy. You're a funny guy. This fucking funny guy over here.
Is he a clown? Does he amuse you? Is he here to fucking amuse you?
Hey, we like funny guys over here on this show. You know why? Because funny guys make us laugh. They're a fucking comedian over here. It's always a good thing with a funny guy. And you know what we do? You know what we do with funny guys? You know what happens with funny guys?
Oh no!
That's what happens with funny guys over there. Anyway, it's one of those things where the guy is, he's basically an incel. What's his name again? The one that kind of looks like me a little bit.
Jesse Plemons, isn't it?
Jesse Plemons. So Jesse Plemons plays the programmer. He designs this Star Trek ripoff type show, and Christine Malati is a programmer that comes in the 11th hour, and he's co-opted a subroutine where he can have the people that he doesn't like his boss, the coffee guy, all the people that won't be friends with him, and he makes them these little like almost playthings, and he gets to be a god in this universe. Once he brings Christine Milioti in, they don't know that they're programs, or at least they don't know at first. And he can basically do whatever he wants. He can, close their mouths off. He can, jettison them in outer space. And just like a game, he can just keep rebooting it and playing it and doing all kinds of sick shit like over and, without giving too much away. But also, fuck it, spoilers, it's been out for 2 years. Christine Milioti gets, she shanghais the crew. They do a mutiny, and they manage to leave him stranded in the game forever, and then they go deeper into the game. Have you guys seen the newest episode, the sequel to it, the USS Callister and Beyond, it's called?
No, because the last season, I wasn't really that impressed with some of the episodes. They felt a little bit, they didn't seem as disturbing or as kind of, what's the term? They didn't really go all the way they used to. I mean, the early seasons of Black Mirror, they really went all the way.
Uh-huh.
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm just gonna load that in my cache and watch it. I'm just gonna skip over and go straight to it so I can watch both
Yeah,
of
I mean,
them.
if you have the ability to just go specifically to that episode, to the USS Callister episode and to the sequel to it, I would highly recommend just doing that. It's very well done. I just watched it earlier this morning before we did this because I wanted to be able to talk at least about something halfway decent, kind of cool. And it definitely impressed me. It was very well done. It brought things into a new perspective, and it even kind of sort of like has an almost happy ending, which is weird for Black Mirror.
Right.
I mean, it's one of those things where well, I don't want to give it away because you guys haven't watched it, but it's definitely something that you one, you don't expect, and two, it goes in but the other stuff that you do expect, it goes in the logical realm of where you think that could have possibly have gone to. So I mean, I guess I'll just kind of leave it at that as far as that goes. What else? Anything else you guys are excited about anytime soon that I can kind of give some hope to?
Not a damn thing. I'll be honest with you.
There probably was something, but I've forgotten what it was.
Movie wise, TV show wise, anything?
Yeah.
No,
I've actually
nothing.
started diving back into the early 2000s and just kind of seeing things I may have missed. I've got this fatigue sort of. I don't know. It just feels like everything's
Yeah.
just, I don't know. It's so bland. I know TV has its ups and downs. Shit, the 80s weren't any better, but there's nothing on the horizon that makes me excited.
Did you see the 1923 finale, Mr. E?
No, we're supposed to be watching that tomorrow night.
Okay, well, I won't. Yeah, I won't ruin it more than I already have, I guess.
No, I'm fine. I mean, you could spoil it all you want. I kind of see where they're going, and like you said earlier, I figured, like you said, they drug us out all season long. Several times I was like, man, I don't want to watch this. I literally got tired midway through, and it's like, I don't know. I'll just let them finish it. Maybe I'll watch it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's really Lancey's coming up here in about 20 minutes. I'm going to get ready for that stream and grab a coffee and stuff. But, listen, Hollywood, these penultimate episodes, man, they're not just filler episodes so you can get to your finale. The whole point of a penultimate episode is so that you can prepare, get your audience and your show prepared for the next episode. It's an important episode. It's just as important as the season premiere, the pilot. It's just as important as the finale, maybe even more so, because you have to arrange all of the things into what it is. Take a page out of Buffy, take a page out of Angel, and understand that and let's stop with this 8-episode bullshit, this 8-9 episode bullshit, and then 2 or 3 years before the next season, man. Oh my God, I'm getting too old. I am getting too old. It's going to come a time soon where there's going to be a show, and I'm going to have to decide whether or not even I can watch it before I die. Like, I don't want to go to hell not knowing what happened with the last of the thing that I'm into. So I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And just leave something in the comments. This after this goes live, it'll be there forever. If there's a show or a movie that I should get into that you can recommend, let me know what you thought of some of the things that we talked about today, and tell me if you think that I've been a little bit too harsh. But Mr. E, Northern English Bastard, love you guys to death. Thank you again for you need to get yourself a cool avatar. Get Northern English Bastard or me to make an avatar for you, and we'll send it to you, and you can pop it up. Not that you're not a handsome devil, because you certainly are, but as far as that goes. But all right, guys.
I know.
Yeah, I need to do you one for Miami Vice. Have you maybe one of your favorite fictional characters in a nice pastel suit?
Yeah, that would be cool. So we do have the Miami Vice stream coming up next week, 2 weeks from now. What is it?
19th.
Yeah, next week. Where's my fucking schedule? It's not this Saturday, it's next Saturday. And I've just got the intro made for it. And
love it.
Yeah.
Love it. So tune in to Northern English Bastards channel for that. A link to that will be in the description. And until next time, stay toxic, everybody.
Riding on the wings of destruction, a toxic presence, a lord of corruption, polluting the ocean, spreading in decay, the toxic black, going the flame, searing through the sand.
I've got balls of steel.